why I became a vegan. Last Christmas, I was going up to my sister's house in New Hampshire for Christmas. And a couple of days prior to that, I started to have some chest pains. I kind of ignored them for a couple of days because I had an appointment with a doctor coming up, a couple of days after Christmas. And I wanted to make sure that I got to my sister's house and was able to enjoy Christmas with my family. Well, to make a long story short, while I was there, we had a good Christmas day. I ate well. I even had a few cold ones and a couple of glasses of Merlot. I went to bed and woke up the next day when two episodes happened before I even got out of bed. I had chest pains for about 15 seconds, and then about 15 minutes later, I had another set of chest pains. And I told the family about it, and they said, "Don, we should take you to the emergency room." I was thinking it was getting a little more serious, and before I even finished my coffee and the frozen waffle, I had another chest pain that actually put me to the floor. So Sister Sue took me to the hospital, took me to the emergency room, and I waited the customary 3 or 4 hours, and they admitted me. And while I was there, I had another attack. Okay, so they put me on the meds program, and then the next morning I had a, what do you call, a stress test. And of course I flunked. So they suggested that I go through what's called an angioplast, where they would just stick a tube into my artery and then take a picture and to see if I had any blockage. And if I had blockage, they wanted to put a stent into my artery, and if not, maybe just continue with the meds program. I said, okay, let's go for it. They said the only one problem is this is a small hospital and we don't usually do those types of procedures here. But they were conducting a study, and they wanted to know if I wanted to participate in their study or did I wanted to get myself to another hospital about 20 miles away and allow them to do it. I said, well, I'm a researcher. I'll help you out. Let me participate in your study. They said, okay. So they started the procedure. And what happened was, in the middle of the procedure, if they decided that I needed a stent, they would hold a raffle of sorts to see if they were going to continue the procedure right there, or would they ship me to the Leahy Clinic and have them continue the procedure that already started there. Well, my luck, I lost the raffle and I needed the stent. So they put me in an ambulance and shipped me off to Leahy Clinic. Well, on the way down, I noticed I felt a little dampness down in the crotch area. And I kind of told the ET, and he came over, told the driver to put the siren on, and away we went. He managed to get it to stop after I lost about a half a pint. So when we got to the Leahy Clinic, they felt that they needed to start the procedure all over again, just through a different path. Okay, the procedure was a success. But get this, after the procedure, they told me I have to lay perfectly still for 6 hours. Well, man, I just spent 3 days in bed, other than to get up to go to the bathroom, and I was already, my bones were already aching a bit. So I bitched for the entire 6 hours. All right, the next morning I get up, and they release me from the hospital. So I go home, and I'm thinking about what I'm going to have to do to recover from this. The first thing I wanted to do was just sit back and watch the Celtics play a game of basketball on the TV. So I moved the TV a little bit closer. It was only a little 17-inch TV. And I moved it closer. But it was Christmas, and the TV wires and the Christmas tree wires got entangled, and I dropped the TV on my left hand. That was the hand that had the IV in it for about 3 days. And I was also on blood thinners. So my hand swelled up to the size of a basketball. In fact, they stopped the game on TV because they were looking for the basketball. And lo and behold, there it was on the top of my hand. So we had to go to the emergency room again. We called the ambulance. And when I got back from the emergency room, I'm thinking, man, I got to make some changes. I've got to reinvent myself. You know, I was close to 65 years old and a little bit overweight. And I'm thinking, what do I got to do to make some changes for the rest of my life here? So I came up with a plan to reinvent myself. I called it my Reinvention Action Plan. It actually had 10 different programs in it. One of them was a nutrition program. Well, my friend Tom Riddle, who's shooting a video here, you know, we got online and he told me that perhaps I should become a vegan. I said, a vegan? What is that? So he explained what it is and he recommended 2 books. One was called The China Study and the other one was by Dr. Eccleston. And I read these 2 books and I listened to Tom and I became a vegan. I'm not the only vegan in the world. In fact, the other night Bill Clinton was on and he's on a plant-based diet himself. And he highly recommends it. And it's changed his life. He's lost quite a bit of weight like I have. I've lost about 40 pounds, you know, and I feel great. And according to Bill Clinton, he says that 85% of the people who have a plant-based diet pretty much are able to overcome any of the symptoms that they've had. And I said, well, that sounds terrific. So do I. That's what I want to do. So I'm doing particularly fine, and I'm a teacher and an educator. And you know that 47% of the people who end up in the hospital with some type of a heart problem, once they leave the hospital, don't do anything other than perhaps take their meds. You know, they gain weight. Would you believe they continue smoking and drinking? Don't exercise. So I'm talking to these people, and a lot of them are saying stuff like, when it's over, it's over. When it's your time, it's your time. Your time is up. I had a friend named Johnny, and he smoked for 50 years, and he was okay. So I'm going, yeah, but if you're just gambling that you're going to be lucky. You know, and if you're a gambler, I'm also a gambler, but I'm a good gambler, I'm telling him. I said, you have to try to reduce the odds. You know, do things like exercise, eliminate some stress in your life, and primarily change that diet that you're on. But they're not listening to me. And, you know, I'm trying to come up with some ideas to help them. And I'm just wondering if any of you folks out there might have some ideas. You might have somebody in your own family, a friend, who you've also tried to convince to make some changes in their life, and they basically won't do it. I'm just, if you have any ideas out there, maybe you can just send them in to me, and I'll try to put something together with the program that I'm developing and see if it helps. So that's pretty much all I've got to say during this session. I'd like to thank you all for your attention, and have a nice day.